Hello mga ka-Englishera at mga ka-Englishera. Welcome back to another learning session with me, Ma'am Cha. So itong video lesson na ito ay yung pinaka-last part na nung discussion tungkol sa conjunctions. So na-i-discuss ko na yung coordinating and then correlative. Now we will discuss subordinating conjunctions. Let's start. Subordinating conjunctions. What is a subordinating conjunction? A subordinating conjunction is a word or phrase that links a dependent clause to an independent clause. This word or phrase indicates that a clause has informative value to add to the sentence's main idea, signaling a cause and effect relationship or a shift in time place between the two clauses. Let us review what is a clause. A clause is a group of words that includes at least a subject and a verb. What is the difference between an independent clause and a dependent clause? An independent clause is a clause that can stand on its own as a complete sentence. Kumbaga, pag sinabi natin independent clause, complete sentence siya. Meron siyang complete thought. It can stand alone. Example ng independent clause ay, Henry did not attend class. Another is, Rina went to the mall. So, complete siya. Complete thought yung independent clause. Pag sinabi namang dependent clause, it is a clause with two specific qualities. Firstly, it does not express a complete unit of thought on its own. It cannot stand as its own sentence. Secondly, it depends upon an independent clause. So, yung dependent clause, kaya nga dependent, kailangan niya ng independent clause para mabuo yung thought niya. It cannot stand alone. Example, because he was sick after she finished school. Mapapansin nyo, kulang yung thought ng mga example na to kasi nga dependent siya. Kailangan niya muna ng independent clause para mabuo yung thought. So, pagdugtungin natin yung sample ng independent tsaka ng dependent clause. Henry did not attend class because he was sick. So, dahil magkadugtong na yung independent tsaka dependent, complete thought na siya. Another, Rina went to the mall after she finished school. So again, kompleto na dahil yung dependent clause, nalagyan na natin siya ng independent clause. So kumbaga sa superhero, ang independent clause ay si Batman at ang dependent clause naman ay si Robin. Let us have common subordinating conjunctions. Time-related conjunctions. The first one is after. It is used when a particular time has passed or when an event or action has ended. Next is as soon as. Something will happen immediately after something else happened. Next is before. It is used for saying how much time passes until something happens. Next is once. It is used for saying that as soon as one thing happens, something else happens. Next, until. It is used for continuing as long as a particular time. Next, when. It is used for talking about a particular time or situation. Next, whenever. It is used for every time that something happens. The last one is while, meaning during that time or as long as. We have the sample sentences. When I see you smile, I can face the world. Next, after they pass the town, they must turn to the left. Next, her head spins dizzily as soon as she sits up. Next, concession and comparison conjunctions. Pag sinabi natin concession, the definition is the act or an instance of conceding as by granting something as a right, accepting something as true, or acknowledging defeat. So we have the conjunctions. We have although, even though, and though. So, ang meaning nila ay despite of the fact that. And then we have as though. It means to talk about how things seem. Next, just as. Meaning in the same way or to an equal degree as. And then we have whereas. Whereas is used for comparing two things, people, situation, etc. and showing that there is an important difference between them. The last is in contrast to. meaning to compare differences between two similar things. Example sentences, we have, although she is a great swimmer, Katie still does not swim alone. Next, a triangle has 3 sides whereas a square has 4. Next, even though I cycle to work, I don't feel very fit. Next, cause conjunctions. We have as, because, since. So that is used to talk about purpose, and in order that is used for saying that something can happen. Sample sentences, he inspires me always because he believes in me. I did not feel good about it as I was always an introvert. You have to clean your room right now because I said so. Moving on, we have condition conjunctions. The first one is even if. It is used for emphasizing that although something may happen or may be true, another situation remains the same. Next, in case. In order to be prepared for something that may happen. Next, provided that. It means if or only if. Or, the first thing will happen only if the second thing also happens. Next, unless. It is used for saying that if something does not happen, something else will happen or be true as a result. Sample sentences, we have, unless we finish the project, you will not be able to go to the pool. Next, even if you run, you'll still be late. Next, take your mobile with you in case you miss the bus. Ang huling set natin ay place conjunctions. The first one is where. It is used for referring to a particular place that someone or something is in or that they go to. Next, wherever. It is used where someone does something or where a particular situation exists. So ito yung mga example natin na sentences. No one could tell me where I could get some peanuts. Next, wherever he went, he took his puppy with him. Okay, so nabigay ko na yung mga common subordinating conjunctions. Here are additional subordinating conjunctions. We have as if, as much as, by the time, if then, if when, in as much, in that event that, less, now since, now that, now when, only if, rather than, supposing, that, than, till, whether or not, which, who, whoever, why. Comma placement and subordinating conjunctions. Remember, subordinating conjunctions that fall in the middle of a sentence are generally not preceded by a comma. This is the opposite of what is done with coordinating conjunctions or words that join two independent clauses. Kung natatandaan ninyo doon sa discussion natin about the other type of conjunction, ang rule doon sa paglalagay ng comma or ng kuwit ay ilalagay mo yung comma before the conjunction. Pero sa subordinating conjunction ay iba. Kapag ka siya ay nasa gitna ng sentence, no need to add a comma or quit. Another, when a dependent clause begins a sentence, however, the whole clause but not the subordinating conjunction itself is followed by a comma. Pagka naman ang sentence ay nag-start ng dependent clause, ilalagay mo ang comma after nung buong dependent clause, hindi lang doon sa subordinating conjunction. Ito yung example. Ito yung incorrect. Whenever Batman was away, Robin drove the Batmobile. Pansinin ninyo na nag-umpisa ang sentence sa dependent clause. Whenever Batman was away. So, hindi mo na kailangan lagyan ng quit after the conjunction. Dito ka lang ngayon maglalagay ng quit after nung dependent clause. So, magiging tamang version yan ay, whenever Batman was away, Robin drove the Batmobile. So, dito ka maglalagay ng quit after ng dependent clause. Next, ito yung incorrect. Robin drove the Batmobile whenever Batman was away. So, ang sentence naman ay nag-umpisa sa independent clause at ang ating subordinating conjunction ay nasa gitna ng sentence. So, ang rule, pag nasa gitna siya, ay hindi mo na siya lalagyan ng kuwit. So, magiging, Robin drove the Batmobile whenever Batman was away. So, ayan, ang tamang version. Let us summarize the lesson. A subordinating conjunction is a word or phrase that links a dependent clause to an independent clause. Tandaan, ginagamit ang subordinating conjunction kapag ang pagdudugtongin mo ay isang dependent clause at isang independent clause. Next, a dependent clause cannot stand alone while an independent clause makes a sense on its own as a sentence. Ang independent clause ay complete sentence na. Pagka naman dependent clause, hindi siya complete sentence. It cannot stand alone. Kailangan muna niya ng independent clause para makomplete ang kanyang thought. Next, when a dependent clause begins a sentence, the whole clause is followed by a comma. Nasasabi ko lang kanina. Subordinating conjunctions that fall in the middle of a sentence are generally not preceded by a comma. Tandaan din ninyo na ang pwesto sa sentence ng dependent clause at independent clause pwede magkapalit. Hindi naman kailangan palaging dapat nasa unahan ang dependent clause. At hindi naman din dapat laging nasa dulo yung independent clause. So kahit ano sa kanilang dalawang mauna, okay lang. As long as makokonect mo sila ng appropriate na subordinating conjunction. Let us now have brain gym. Directions. Choose the correct subordinating conjunction that will complete each sentence. Choose the letter of your answer. I'll give you 1 minute to finish the activity. You may start now. Okay, check your answers. Number 1, the answer is because. Number 2, as soon as, letter C. Number 3, the answer is B, wherever. Number 4, the answer is A, even though. And number 5, the answer is where. So, nakatapos na tayo ng discussion natin sa conjunctions. Na-discuss ko na ang coordinating, correlative, and subordinating conjunctions. So, Christina Espanya, absuelto na ako sa iyo ha. Ito na yung request mo. So, kung meron kayong mga request ng mga topics na gusto nyo ipa-discuss, comment lang kayo. Pipilitin ko ma-accommodate yan agad-agad. Kung medyo matagalan, pagpasensyahan nyo na marami ding mga ibang gawain sa paaralan. Pero pipilitin ko yan na magawa. At sana ay makahabol ako. So, ayun lang. Thank you for watching. Enjoy learning. Keep learning. Bye!